Want to get started?
Sure.
Here we go. Is there two different separate groups on this thing, or just?
I think us three and those two are here for the general comments for the bylaws.
Yeah, just,
We'll keep it under 2 minutes.
Do you want to go through this now, or?
I mean, public to be heard is first, we can just go with,
Yep, come on up, get
Okay.
going. Do you want to?
Get a little closer. I guess, so we were just wondering if, we're kind of racking our brain. Of course, we're all learning about all the laws and everything right now on changing bylaws and all that stuff. Do we know, I know Melissa's not here, do we know if they're working on changing the zoning regulations by any chance?
Not that I'm aware of. They were going to work with, the last meeting she asked to, with regional planning.
Okay.
Do you recall what that was?
yeah, they want to work with regional planning to have, as a consultant, so that they can monopolize on this time when everybody's engaged. That this is the time, if we have people who are really interested in making something happen, then I know that they're eager to monopolize on that.
Cool. I think that was our main, we haven't been told much, so I'm trying to.
I mean,
I'm trying to,
it's month to month, so those
Yeah.
meetings, it feels like a long time in between because they're only scheduled for a monthly meeting.
Okay, yeah, so we'll get in touch with them,
Yeah.
because we've got a whole group that would love to sit with them and bounce ideas off of them and stuff.
Yeah.
And then my other question was, would it be possible to get any amended bylaws on the Australian ballot for the next town meeting? Because I think 2 years ago, I remember the town plan was on one of the voting articles.
Right,
3 years ago.
To accept it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't say it, I don't honestly know because we've never done it.
Okay.
We've always done it with the town plan.
Yeah.
Take changes were made when the town, and that can be changed at any time, as far as I
Well, the
understand.
thing is, we're a vote for floor town,
Mhm.
so you'd have to change to an Australian ballot town.
For everything?
We'd have to look into it.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be able to do it next year anyway, because you'd have to warn it.
It's a process.
It's a
like
process.
2-year deal.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it goes. You bring it up,
Yeah.
under general discussion, we want this as a group,
Uh-huh.
if I understand this correctly.
And that's my
And the next
understanding
year-
too.
The next year, you bring it forth as a vote.
Okay, so I guess, Brian, you'll understand this, that the end state, I guess, so our main goal is, we have a group of, 60 people, 50, 60 people that are really interested in having these zoning regs changed. And I think they'll work with the zoning planning to get them changed. My concern is for the other side, so the rest of the town that is not involved in this process. So I guess I'm concerned, we've got like 60 people that are very anti-subdivision development right now. But then, there's probably a large majority in the town that is, maybe doesn't want to be that extreme.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to think of a way, if the regulations are changed, for everyone to see the changes.
I think that's one reason, the last meeting, we were all in favor of them working with regional planning.
Okay.
So they became even more educated,
Uh-huh.
that they can educate us on certain things, because like it or not, I think we're gonna see some changes come, and I'd a lot rather see us prepared for them.
Yeah.
Than everybody, every time something comes up, we all go into a theater, let's
Yeah.
get it as streamlined as we can
Okay.
for everyone. I mean, there's some people that don't own land, say, I don't want this, some people own land, well, sometimes I may be forced to do things with it,
Yeah.
even though I don't want to, just to keep it,
Yeah.
the balance of it, I guess,
Okay.
so.
When we rewrote the entire town plan that was just passed,
Mhm.
the Northwest Regional Planning Commission helped organize all of the community dialogue.
Mhm.
So part of their role is to make sure that what you're saying, that all the voices are heard as part of, that is part of the process.
Yeah, I think my concern was that there wasn't really much input though, because I was on a few of the meetings, and it was during like the middle of COVID, beginning, and it was all Zoom calls, and obviously
Yeah.
there was no applications at the time, so you didn't have a lot of interest.
And I think you'll find that's the issue, whether it's zoning or select board or any public group. If you can find a way to get people engaged, there's about 10,000 municipalities that would love to.
Yeah.
We had a town meeting, public, open town meeting, Australian ballot. Polls were open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for the solid waste and for Maple Run. We have over 1,400 people on our checklist. Do you know how many votes we had?
170?
No,
How much?
159.
Oh, God.
So, I know what you're asking for, but it
Okay.
doesn't change the world.
Well, I'm not worried about it. I'd be happy if the group of 60 got.
Right, right,
But
right,
I'm just
but
trying
It's
to be.
the right way to approach it, just,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I'm
difficult
just-
to engage.
Okay.
everybody.
saying that people in the past had said, oh, if it was Australian ballot town meeting day, more people would vote. The last 2 years prior to this meeting, we had Australian ballot because of COVID, and people could request ballots. And we hovered right around 200, which is what the average was before. This year was very low at 159. So,
Okay. Okay, no, that's great. So we'll just work with the zoning people, sounds like, and try to get as many people as we can to those meetings.
I would think that would be the most profitable way to get it done, so
Okay.
everybody's had an opportunity, whether they're pro or con, whatever it is.
Okay.
But at least they had a chance to participate in it and say, hey, I don't agree with this, or I do agree with this.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, the good news is that the idea of a town plan is now on people's minds, right? And the good news is that the idea of the fact that we have a planning commission and a zoning board is now on people's minds. If there's anybody who's interested in recreation, we also are supposed to have a recreation committee. I mean, there's a limited number of people engaged, but
Yeah,
there's.
we've gone through this with
this
recreation committee
opportunity.
before, one time there was 3.
Yeah, right.
There was quite an interest on something that went on, all of a sudden, there was 21 people showed up for a meeting. I think in the end, they expanded to 11
Yeah.
within perhaps 3 years.
Now it's
Back down to 3.
3. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's the cycles of different things, and unfortunately, most of the time, it's the same people volunteering to do similar things.
Yeah, they get burned out.
So,
All right, well, I appreciate it, and I think the town plan, I think we're okay with, but I know Linda had some stuff she wanted to just mention real quick.
Sure.
I appreciate you guys.
yeah.
Thanks,
It's
Tom.
helpful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So,
Oh, yeah, I saw that invitation.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you. Number 4.
congratulations.
So, I'm just such a big picture person. I want to make sure that Fairfield, if we can swing it, has the same character of collaboration that it has right now. And the reason why Chuck and I got involved in this whole thing is, because it's quite far from our house, but I could just see, did you guys hear that I interviewed like 17 different people, like a lot of people, because I didn't understand any of these issues, you know? I'm embarrassed to say that Chuck and I we've been here for 20 years in Fairfield and haven't become immersed as like we should, but shame on us. But now we're engaged, like you said, now's the time to take advantage of what. And Chuck and I got concerned because we can see this as such a precedent-setting thing. And when we really read all the zoning regs, we read all the town plan, and there's places where they don't meet, where they don't fit together well. And what I could see is, right now I've heard in all my conversations, a lot of people are saying, well, I don't have to see it, it doesn't matter to me. But what I can see for this community is a PUD that sort of wants the benefits of a PUD, but doesn't want any of the responsibilities, goes in here. And then that sets a precedence for somebody over there, and then you've got a different 60 people who care. And then a different 60 people who care. And every time you do that, you just make the society more friction-filled. And so I really want us to make sure that we get a town plan, which I read. I don't know, I think it's the coolest thing ever, all that history that's in the town plan and all that aspiration. That is a really living document that's beautiful. And you guys should be really proud if you guys are the ones who, captained that ship. And our zoning regs should reflect that. And right now they don't. And so we're destined to have all these episodes where, sure, a whole bunch of people aren't here now because it's right there, but when it's over there, then it'll be a different 60 and a different 60. And just want to make sure we look at this like an opportunity and not a problem, because it is such an opportunity.
Right, yeah, and as I've said, things are changing. I mean, I think when I drive to St. Albans, I used to say Chuck
Yeah.
You went by probably 8 to 10 farms on the way there.
Right.
You know, and you'd be hitchhiking, you'd almost could pick where you'd ride with because there's so many
Yes.
cars going by. And now you got, what, 3 operating farms from St. Albans
Yeah.
to Bakersfield.
But remember, that with only 13 farms, 3 of them have touched this one,
Oh, yeah.
this development. And we gotta be careful, like, those folks have long histories of trying to get those soils to be organic, and then there's a wetland that I took pictures today of the runoff on that hill that is unbelievable. It's not denying
Pretty
it's a
steep
spot.
hill.
It's not a spot. And I'm not, Chuck and I are not against development. That's not why we're in this. We just don't want this town to become a friction-filled
Yeah.
spot like our neighbors. And we see this cool opportunity right now. But if we let this one roll,
Well,
and just,
I'll be honest, I'm glad to see all this discussion about
Yeah,
it.
it's
Because
gonna be
this is
cool.
kind of the first one,
yeah,
and I'd like to make sure
if we can just keep it
everybody's
super
had involvement in
simple.
it. When it gets done, it gives
Yeah.
a real precedence to set for any others
Yeah.
that come along after.
Well, we want growth.
Yeah.
We want to have better, we want the school to be supported better, and the library and all the stuff.
Well, and I'd like to make sure some of the kids in town can afford to stay living in town.
Well, this is the thing. If this sets a precedent, then we got a whole different way that our grandparents can't come back and live here and help us with our families, our kids can't stay, all this stuff. But we can control that now. We've got, the future isn't something that happens, it's something you create. And we can create it together here right now. Well, it's still not all crazy filled, but if we do this collaboratively, I think we can do something really cool that we'll all be happy with when we're walking around on our walkers and our kids are enjoying the same beautiful landscape that we love.
Side by side, Linda.
Huh?
It's a driving side by side.
Yes. So that's it. I just wanted
With
to.
training wheels.
You're gonna see a lot more of Chuck and I, and I'm embarrassed and sorry we weren't in it sooner, but we can do what we can now. We're very happy to help.
We're all on the same ship, so.
Yeah, we're very happy to help right now. So thank you very much for your time.
Yep.
Sorry, I just saw that. Oh, there we go. It was 2 sides, you could have kept it.
Oh. So, is there anyone else that wants to speak on planning and zoning at this time?
Sorry, one last thing. I know you guys have talked about the digital map records. I just want to say, we got a copy from Melanie, and it was very helpful, because previous to that, we could not see anything on it. And then when we came in and asked for a hard copy, we got like a tiny paper. And like just yesterday, I realized there's actually 3 mound systems instead of 2, but you just couldn't see all the information.
Oh, on the design plan thing for?
Yeah, the sketch map. So I know it costs more money to have that distributed and all that, but it was helpful with our group, so appreciate that.
And I'd like to say to that point, this could get very, very expensive for the town if we don't pull the regs and the town plan together, because it leaves so much confusion that you've just got people asking for documents constantly, you've got the increased time for our zoning administrator. If we can pull all this together where people can find the answers they want and say, oh, I better not do that, or I better not plan this, because it's easy to see online and they both go together. If we can close all the loopholes that leave questions in people's minds, it will cost us a lot less. As far as
When that town plan was put together, it was done with a grant from regional planning. It was a fair amount of money.
Yeah.
And they worked with them through the whole process.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't just 4 or 5 people here saying, let's do this, the old plan, take this line out, add this. And they really spent quite a few months on it. It wasn't just,
now, the town plan, they both look very good, but they don't go together. There's places where they are in friction.
yeah.
And that leaves places for constant churning of friction going
Each
forward.
person's interpretation.
Yes, and if we can eliminate that, then it'll cost the town a lot less over time, and it'll cost people who want to do this or want to do that, they'll decide not to or to do things, because it will all be black and white. So I just wanted to say, I think we gotta really think about how much development costs us if we don't do it right.
Well, thank you. Thanks, guys, appreciate it. Yep. Okay. Mo, you, how long, a few minutes?
The people with the box.
You got time, or you got a few minutes?
Here.
Okay. Dave, you got a presentation if you wanted to?
Actually, it took us a while to get those questions together. It's a lot of work, and we've been busy, and we just finally got that to Kathy this evening, and she'd asked us to get it to her, you know, we all had time to prepare. And so we were hoping we could roll it into the next meeting, and I'd asked Jason if he could come up and help us. It didn't work so good the last time when we tried to do it, you know, over the Zoom.
Yeah, I saw this, I mean, I'm gonna speak just for myself here. I saw those questions that were asked or proposed, a few of them, I forget what that paper was.
I was able to. print
I gotta be honest with you, I'm looking at this stuff and I'm thinking, and I mentioned this at the last meeting. The request was, would we write a letter of support or opposition to that wind project? Now I'm looking at all these questions and I'm thinking, this is part of the project itself. This is like a town developing your plan for you. This is my opinion, in my mind, because I've been pretty neutral on this whole thing. I don't have a plus or a minus one way or the other. I read through what we got from that attorney, it cost $8,000. And that whole thing still says that this does not meet the town plan. In my mind, I don't like jerking people around. In my mind, looking this thing over, this thing doesn't comply with town plan, the way it's presented now. And it's not, anything I read or hear from this lawyer, it's not our place to be suggesting changes or anything else.
Okay, and specifically, can we have that highlighted so, you know, everyone can understand exactly, precisely where it is that.
Well, the biggest priority that they're gonna take right up front is there's, if I think of the proper word that's used, but it's around, basically around the pond, the beauty of the pond, and keeping the scenic atmosphere around the whole pond area.
So what we're asking, and one of the questions in there,
Yeah.
and I mean, like I said 2 weeks ago, I mean,
But Dave, I'm just telling you, from the position, I'm sitting here on the select board, representing everybody. We paid this money to this attorney, quite a chunk, to get his legal opinion, and he's done things before the PUC, both sides of the aisle, from what I understand. And he's saying this thing does not comply, and basically, our obligation as a town board is to say, yeah, we get behind this or we don't. And what he's given us, we're not supposed to be telling you where to position anything, telling you how anything to go about it. And he's pretty much saying you almost need an application to that public service board before the town could make any other statement against or for. So as it is right now, in my mind, maybe, and I'm talking for myself, not for you guys, I'm looking at this thing and saying the town shouldn't write a letter of support because we're going against our own legal advice. So I just want, I want to be upfront. I don't like jerking people
that
around.
wasn't one of the questions in there, guys.
No, but if that's the case, if the majority of the board agree to that, there's no reason to answer any questions. Because we're not in a position, knowledge, or anything else to do that.
I'm just trying to bring some clarity to the memorandum and to the bylaws, because it seemed a little overreaching from the landowner's perspective. It's a mile away from the pond, outside the
But
pond.
it's still within view of that pond scenic area thing is what he's using as the example that it isn't in compliance of. That's the way I'm understanding. Maybe I don't claim to be any expert at all in this thing, not the least.
But we need to understand, are you asking us to make them invisible, or, you know, is, you know,
From what I understand, again, this is my opinion, it's not our place to be saying tell you what to do or suggest that you do. That as it stands, as it is, it's not in compliance with the town plan. That's the only thing as a select board, if we're gonna write a letter of support or against.
I mean,
I think what it is, I'm just, this again, my opinion, I think you need to talk to someone that does the thing, or a lawyer, just like we did. So they can tell you, no, they can't do this, legally they couldn't do this, or legally they couldn't do that. We're just trying, and like I say, I don't have any bone in this thing. I'm just going by what we've done. And the legal opinion we paid for, from a guy that's truly supposed to be an expert in this, and it says, according to that, the thing isn't in compliance. So, as a select board member, I have to say, well, we paid for this is the knowledge I have, this is a suggestion, what I'm gonna say. So all these questions, in my mind, the town isn't obligated, nor should they answer those questions.
I think this is a fair list of questions for the landowner to go to his developer and say, these are the issues we have. The select board and their attorney gave us, said, you know, proximity to the pond, whatever the issues may be. And the next step would be working with your developer to answer those, to get your own opinion, get somebody else to contradict it or come up with a way to get around it or meet the town plan.
But I won't disagree if these things that just came today can wait till another meeting, make a final decision, because you don't have all the board members here. So in fairness to everybody, I think, one, you look at these, but that's, I'm telling you my opinion right now. So because I don't like dragging people on and stuff, and it goes nowhere, and you wind up with the same result.
Well, and I mean, I just feel like we deserve a little more clarity. I mean, I haven't seen the attorney's opinion. Maybe that would help me.
That's basically what you got in the memorandum that we gave you.
The summary.
And
That's
it
the
seemed,
summary.
and from my point of view, it seemed kind of vague.
No, the basic thing he said and keeps saying and stating to us is the thing does not comply with the town plan as the town plan is written. That's the full understanding I've got. And like I said, we spent over, I bet we got $9,000 in this guy.
So,
Maybe if you go through the town plan and highlight every place that talks about
I've
the
done
pond,
this.
and then go back to the memo and think about
I've
what
done
it
that.
says. Okay.
And I mean, I think it's a reach, but nevertheless, how do I know how to fix it? I mean, if we lower them a little bit, I mean, if you see a blade from, 8,500 feet with your binoculars, is that,
But that, I guess that's what I'm saying is I would encourage you to go to a developer, somebody who does this stuff. They're gonna know how to work through these, how to address it. I mean, I don't think the memo we got is super overreaching. It's broad-based, it's fact-based, it's what he interprets out of our town plan.
well, let's talk about being overlooking the pond. I mean, I think that word doesn't apply,
But that, I guess that's what I'm saying. That's not something we can address.
That's not, yeah, that's not, I'm not, Dave doesn't, I don't claim to have knowledge of how they break down and look at that stuff when you go through this public service thing. I have no idea, first to say it. All I know is just reading what that memorandum is, what we paid for in a legal opinion. We got a reason to say, to back up when we say, no, I don't think this does meet the town plan. Because now we've got something for us. And that's what we're doing. The original question was, would we send a letter in support of or be against it?
And if they were overlooking the pond, maybe they shouldn't, but they aren't overlooking the pond.
Well, see,
But
that's each
unfortunately,
person's interpretation of it.
We're a civil board, no different than anything you've ever done volunteer. We went to a lawyer to get a professional opinion. Does this apply? Gavin and Brian and Ron and Tom and I are smart enough and wide base of knowledge to do that. We went and got a professional opinion. We're not jumping up and down one way or the other. We're trying to give you, this is what the town plan says. That's gonna be our guiding star. That's what's gonna tell us one way or the other.
I'm sure when that application that you do with that public service board, they'll be after us again, one way or the other. That's if it does meet the plan or doesn't meet the plan, but it's not us to be making suggestions, and for everything I can read on this thing, is we're kind of a yes or no deal. But it's not, if it doesn't meet the town plan, and that's a legal opinion we've gotten, and we can't support it. That's how I look at it, just from what I read.
And so I'm sitting here, so if as presented, it doesn't meet the town plan, how can I present it so it is within the town
I think
plan?
what Dave just suggested, you need to get somebody that truly deals with this, that can come and say this, that person could, if they've been through that process, I would assume could look at this and said, we've had other areas or other towns where we had to deal with things, and this is what you guys kind of need to bring things into a compliant level or something. Again, I'm just throwing out idea because I don't pretend to know.
I'm sure Jason's, had a lot of experience with this, but it doesn't seem like, you've hit it off very well with Jason either.
It's been hard, it's been Zoom meetings, I get that. But unless there's a concrete change to the plans that were presented to us, we can't go back and change our opinion just because he sits here and,
Well, yeah, I mean, I suppose if, we can't even get answers to those questions, we don't have anything to go on either.
I would think if the person dealing with has done this process before, they've had to deal with those same questions previously. I'd be shocked if they hadn't.
Or other select boards have had to deal with them as well.
I think most select boards are the same nature that we are, unless, if the thing was in compliance of the town plan, then I would think the board would send a letter saying, well, we can't oppose it, because it,
right, I mean, right.
according to what
But
we're hearing
these
from
are-
our legal opinion, it doesn't meet the town plan that Fairfield has in place. And therefore, I can't support the thing, because I'd be going against the money we spend on legal opinions of it, and I surely have no knowledge one way or the other.
So who can answer those questions?
I think whoever you work with to do this project. I don't know, like, if we pay for an attorney, you're gonna pay for an attorney. To get the person says, no, you do me, or you don't, whatever the case might be. But it's not us that's gonna be telling, it's not me gonna be telling you, lower them, move them, do whatever, because I don't have the knowledge base, and I don't want the responsibility of that either, I'll be quite honest with you. But we can hold off, I'd say hold off to another meeting till the other two members are here. Because anything I've stated right now is just my opinion. So, I have no idea how those two feel.
Is it possible? I mean, I don't want to see any time or money wasted. I mean, I'd just soon be back there, working at getting something done.
Well, that's why I'm trying to be upfront with you, because we spent probably now $9,000
Is
to
there
make sure we have legal.
any reason why the attorney couldn't answer those questions?
Yeah, we'd be paying him another probably $300 an hour.
Better you than me.
Well, we've got a legal opinion from him already, Dave.
These
I don't know, is it really, it's addressing those questions that we're asking?
That's-
that we-
That's it, we don't have to address all these questions, Dave. If I understand him right, all we need to do, does it meet our town plan? Because the select board is different from the zoning and planning board. And according to our town plan, according to what we paid him for an opinion thereof, it doesn't. So that's what I'm gonna go by, because I don't
These are
know.
the sort of questions that a project developer, whether it's putting in a development or a PUD or windmills or solar panels, this is what they do for a living, right? They look at these questions, say, these are the concerns, how do we address them? And that unfortunately is not the job of the select board or the taxpayer to answer those questions.
Well, we can postpone anything we do for one more meeting and I think the next meeting should definitely have a vote taken upon it, one way or the other, so not only we know, but also you've got an answer.
Dave, no offense, that's your opinion. I'm not sure if I agree.
And what I've said is my opinion, I don't speak for anyone else on that board.
I think it's the town's obligation to bring a little more clarity to it, I really do.
Well, I don't, that's just from what I read, and that's what I'm going with. Clarity was spent on legal opinion so far. That's why I just said, I don't think the town should spend more money on this. Probably spent $9,000 so far. So let's wait till the next meeting, sent these out, take a look at stuff. The next meeting, we can find out what the other two members, how they wanna handle it. I'm just giving you an upfront on, we'll have to go through and reading all the stuff I've read. This is just my opinion of it. So. Is there anything you gentlemen want to add before we move on? Or?
No, I think at this point, we're kind of at a standstill. Let's circle up with the whole board next time. Like I said, I don't want to waste your time or our time. I would highly encourage you to get a consultant or developer or whatever you want to call it. And I think they'd be handy in guiding you through this process.
No matter which way it goes, it's going to cost money. But I think we've done our part on checking out, make sure we knew what we were, to get a legal opinion, so we knew somewhere where we stood. It's like this PUC thing is quite a debate. I'm glad people are challenging it just to know it. The first one that gets in here gets done in the manner so it sets precedence. Same with this thing. First time we dealt with these wind towers on town land.
That's difficult. You got the landowner that might need
Yeah.
to do a project, so he can hang on to the land, and you got,
Well, that's what I suggested earlier,
Both
here, things are gonna get
members,
tougher as less farms are around. There's more land, something's gotta be done. Set it up, hopefully for it works, but this part here, and again, anything I say is just my opinion of this thing, after looking it over for the last 2-3 months. So we can come back for the next meeting, hopefully we have a full board, so we can truly give you a decision date. Take it.
if I can get the answer to those questions, I think it'd be helpful. But, otherwise, do we just go to the, PUC and,
I think you go whoever you're associated with on this project and say, these are questions they need to get the answers to. I don't quite
but I just
understand.
don't feel like we're getting anywhere here because you don't wanna answer.
Well, we could take a vote on the 3 of us right here if you wanted to, say, no, we're not gonna support it. But I'd like the other 2 to be here to state their opinions one way or the other. So I'm not gonna suggest we do a vote tonight on it. But at the next meeting, I wanna see it answered one way or the other for you, so you'll know whether the town will support it or not.
Well, we already know the answer right now.
I only speak for myself when I'm giving you that opinion. It's just my opinion. It's no one else's. I don't speak for anybody else on that until we take a vote on it. And then we'll know about it.
As I said, in that memorandum, it was vague and even using words like overlooking, it's not our project.
Well, from my side on the select board being on and what we've gone through so far, I feel we've done due diligence to know how as a board member, how I should look at it. And that's, after much looking after it, I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, this is the part of the projects over here. Our just thing was writing a letter in support of or opposed to. And I can't find myself bringing myself to say, yeah, I'm gonna support this thing. And I'm talking just for me. I'm not trying to talk for everybody
Are
else.
you okay with the definition of overlooking that,
I understand that what the aspect is, I guess, of it, of maintaining anything that deteriorates from the views around the pond, because it's quite a natural asset.
but are you in agreement that my project a mile away is gonna be overlooking the pond?
I can see being part of that from what I've seen just in that balloon trial thing around it, that there's gonna be some effect on some people on that pond.
But
I'm not saying everybody, but
But
some of the people.
overlooking,
Well, if it's above it and they see it from here, it's either shoot across or down. I don't know the actual angle of projection, but. And again, I'm basing anything I'm saying, Dave, is on that opinion from that lawyer that it does not comply with the town plan. And that's it.
That's,
only
at the end of the
thing
day, that's what we
the
have
only
to
thing
go.
we're dealing with. And after that, whatever goes on the project is between you and whoever you develop it with, and that PUC. We've got no final say on it by any means. So if you want to come back to the next meeting and we'll take a vote on it, and public ask each one of us how we feel about it. I've stated right up front to you because I don't feel like misleading you or anything else. I spent some time looking this stuff over and reading it, and I'm looking out for the whole town's interest in this. And that's what, after the time, that's what I've come up with. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but that's how I feel about it, being elected onto it, so that's all I can tell you. So I guess the next thing is, if you want to postpone anything, a vote or anything till the next meeting, as a board, then we can do it the next meeting and get it over.
I wasn't necessarily looking for a vote, I just wanted to answer to a few questions.
I don't feel,
where
I don't think the select board is under any obligation, nor should they be, to answer all these questions.
Now, when I read that memorandum too, it encouraged us to ask questions. That's how the questions came about.
Well, I just know, of course, we're looking at it from different viewpoints, but I'm looking at what the town needs to do, and I think the town has done it by getting due diligence, having someone that has a legal expertise in this matter saying, yeah, I don't believe it follows the town plan, the way it's written at this time.
So in the memorandum, why do we encourage to ask questions if we're not gonna answer the questions?
I'm not even gonna get into that, Dave. I don't know. I didn't know why, I didn't even know why they put that in there. You can always ask questions at a planning and zoning meeting.
Right, I think the expectation is to ask questions, but not straight development questions, right?
Technical questions.
Working with a consultant to answer technical questions and citing questions and how to meet the plan, how to meet the rules, if there's clarification needed on that level, but a lot of this clarification can come from somebody who does this for a living. I mean, that's, whether it's a lawyer or a consultant or a developer.
But like they were saying earlier, I mean, it's our town plan. Shouldn't all of us in the town be able to understand it? Should we have to have a Philadelphia lawyer to sort it out for us?
I think anything you start off with change, it's gonna have a lawyer involved in it. That's
And I
one reason we
think-
spent the money doing up front, rather than just sit here and act like we knew exactly what we were doing. Never pretended from the first get-go of this thing that I had any expertise or any experience in this. So it's a learning business for us too. That's why we hired this guy to look this thing through and find out, does the thing work in it? Does it bother? Obviously you got other people opposed to it. So we need to figure out, we're looking over the whole project in my mind. So, without those guys here, I'm not gonna operate the meeting, take a vote on it and say, we'll come to the next meeting and we'll get a final decision from
Like
it.
I said, I wasn't asking for no final, I wasn't asking for a vote, I was just
Well-
asking for an answer to some questions that I was encouraged to ask by memorandum number 2.
Well, I'm just giving you my opinion on how I'm feeling about this thing now. In the next meeting, maybe the other two members will say they have a different thing and the vote, there won't be a vote. But it said, I'm gonna just call the question on the board and say, you need to give an answer one way or the other. You're gonna write a letter in support or not. That's just myself. I'm just talking for myself here. So,
So never saw this coming when we set out to do a renewable energy project.
a lot of things in life don't go the way we planned, Dave.
No, I mean, it seemed like, we were encouraged to do this. That there's some renewable energy goals that we're all supposed to step up and do our part. And I just don't see Fairfield stepping up to do its part here, and I'm kinda disappointed.
If it doesn't work, do like groups doing with zoning regs, make changes or get involved. I mean, but at this point,
We'll pay attention, because I feel like rights have been taken away from me. I mean, if we were having this conversation before you came up with this pond district, or before Travis tried to do his project and had so much trouble, would it have been different?
Depends what the town plan had in at that time, to be quite honest with you. No, that's changed the last 2 times we've had them. Remember one time when they were trying, now we couldn't build back 1,500 feet from South Road. There was a big push on that till people got out, said, wait a minute, you guys are nuts. And it got eliminated out of the town plan. And this plan here supposedly, I remember going through all the process, and that's why we wanted regional planning in them, because they knew the details, they knew how to formulate the thing, so we're in compliance with state laws and everything else. I'm not saying that thing's perfect, that's why it gets changed every so often.
That's why I'm asking the questions, I didn't see where it was so clearly defined.
Well, that's why we asked, paid a lawyer, Dave, to look at it, because they've had more experience on the way those things get interpreted. It's people's interpretations most of the time on this stuff. I don't know what to tell you other than that I think we're kind of ending the discussion tonight on this thing,
Yeah, I think we're done.
so.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Mo, you're on.
Last week we tabled the 550, I know we've had
About same position?
Yeah.
I don't know that we've gone much further or talked about it.
Have you guys looked at, like, what's a truck city drives? Is it C500 or Chevy? It's a little bigger.
The one that we're proposing is a 600 Ford.
Okay, so, okay, yeah.
It's bigger than the 550. It's,
Longer wheelbase, right?
right, long wheelbase and more GRWs.
Yeah.
The 622, 550, 19.5. And the wheelbase is because it's gonna have a side dump on it, so
Yeah.
gotta have to, we'll be set back further.
And you haven't heard, none of them have had one come in, right?
No, it sounds like, Hayes up there, it'd be towards the fall.
Towards the fall.
Then get on a bandwagon, get it on.
And they haven't said anything, looked at ours or given a,
No.
but it's kind of got a set value on it, so.
Yeah, they're all right. They'll be ready to make.
When they, what are they saying for the one we have at present?
Trade in,
Yeah,
45,
45, the way it sits.
45,000.
Yeah, it all depends what happens, what goes on.
Yeah.
Huh.
We go on, we'll stay on a 7-year plan. 2017 frame line will be next year.
How many miles are on that one, you know?
80. Just keep on in mind.
Yeah.
And, I ain't talked to Sandy, but I don't know if you order that one today, could be a couple of years, I don't know, I ain't talked to Sandy what, how far out their trucks are. Sandy Ladd, Charter Boys, or, I know, up there, Alliance, they're all booked right up. All their slots for trucks this year.
What about that international, what was wrong with it?
There's a breaker in there, like in your house, a breaker,
Yeah.
same idea. Breaker kit, and that truck, set up for trailer too, so James one did it, took that breaker out and put it in there, reset it, took the breaker went, set it off. Right now, nothing bothered him, but, we had an issue with the DEF fluid, we still got the issue. They ain't figured that out yet, and it's been 4 or 5 months. So they deleted a lot of that stuff. We can't even get in there and check the codes. So we've been out there.
They need to go back there and they need to fix it.
Right, and call them, we had this trouble. But if we brought it up there, and it was this problem here, that wouldn't have been under warranty.
That would or would not,
Would not.
part of the powertrain thing, isn't
Both, they said it's, like you said,
it?
how
They
you
do
read
it,
it.
yeah, it's all how stuff gets
It
interpreted.
is, it's, you think you got it, but you don't.
Yeah.
And, 'cause it's an electric issue. But lucky James found it, we've been running it.
But I would keep after them about that F problem.
Well,
They
we-
needed-
When we got trouble with this, brought it up again. He said, yeah, we'll get on, well, another week on, seemed like another week on by. We'll have to give another jingle tomorrow, we gotta get it up there and they gotta figure this out.
Yeah, especially when it's under warranty.
Mm-hmm.
So what other good news you got?
Nothing different,
You happy?
yeah.
My husband does Curly from the Three Stooges, so you're happy you're married?
So Tyler and I met with Danny Horrigan last week to go over the plans for the North Road as well. I just want to throw that in there. And the pre-bid meeting was this morning on North Road, and there was a good turnout with St. Ange, Goodhue, Blow and Cody, Ireland, and others. And the ads are running this week and next week with the bid opening for the 10th of April.
Yeah, I saw that bid in the paper one day.
And the grants
So
I was mentioning
are
last.
Danny and Robbie more than willing to work with us to get the thing changed out?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was a great visit.
Easement's gotta be written or?
The easements, that's where we are right now. I need the easements to be written by the lawyer based on the current plans. And then once we have that, he's happy to sign them. We talked about where the staging is gonna go and some of the rocks that we're gonna find and the history of the road, and it was a good visit.
They willing to let us keep material there and all that stuff?
Mhm.
Perfect. Oh, well,
Did you have anything else, Paul? I was just gonna say, just to bring it up, this Bridge 51, Chester A. Arthur, and it was more of, you know, like, I had the opportunity to talk to the state, Mo and I talked about this, but, and Mo gave some good inputs, and Kathy and I have been talking, but just to bring it up briefly, this is probably the most problematic bridge in our town, that's our responsibility, right?
yeah.
So the point was, you know, as we kind of go from day to day to day, what's the plan? Because this is gonna be, you know, besides our trucks, this is gonna take some, you know, like some planning, some financial planning. And I just wanted to kind of get it on the agenda. I don't have any solution, I don't have any recommendations, other than we should make this a priority to at least, you know, either use the regional planning, the transportation committee, or make some calls, or.
Is that the one you're on up there, that TAC, is it TAC? TAC.
Yeah, it
Is
just,
that where they rank the bridges? Is that the committee that ranks the?
Yeah, we use rank projects and roads.
That
I know
would
this was brought up 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You know, everybody on that committee, they know where the road is, and the sight view and the width of the bridge.
Yeah.
Right, it's
They
more
have
of
a
a bridge
traffic.
project.
Uh,
It's more of a bridge project, it's site view and
It's,
all the things that go with it. That's one we should have, Steve look
Into
into grants. It leads up to the Chester Arthur Monument, whatever federal line of crap you can get, that would be
Yeah.
whether it's
That's a good
paving
idea.
on road
Yeah.
or construction.
So the TAC grant the TAC committee prioritized this bridge as like one of the top three.
North
It
Bridge,
went-
North
yeah,
Road.
Yeah,
North Road.
it was one of the top three, and it went to the state, and the state chose the one in Swanton, I call it the Kathunk Road. It's that really big stretch on, what's the name? In
Route seven?
Swanton.
78.
78.
Yeah,
So that bridge got the grant this year, and then they go back and they do it every year. We're still
Right, but it
not-
doesn't hurt, because after our experience with Elm Brook Bridge, the more you go down and scream and holler and whine, it seems to have more effect long-term of getting it moved up into the rankings. And we gotta keep after this one, it's a
What-
major highway
Did
for
you
us.
see where it ranked anywhere? That thing might know.
It was on the top three of that list that went to the state last year.
Okay.
Yeah, but we wanna make sure it stays on that list and
Mhm.
so you can get it moved up one or something.
Yeah, they are very aware, like Bethany they really do know about the issue.
But you know we're gonna have more issues with it when they start all driving up that,
what,
across that bridge next summer.
Yeah, the problem, I think that one of the problems with grants right now is that the structures grant is only at $150,000. Last year, for example, we put in a grant, I have it written down here, at an estimated, with a culvert that was estimated at $170,000. Now it's, the quote this year that I got was more at $270,000. And that doesn't include the increases in installation and pavement and guardrails.
Right.
The money
A
by-
bridge
from
job
the-
is- Structures is for
Structure.
culverts.
It's for structures, it
Right,
can be
but
bridges.
it's 150
So,
doesn't.
but it doesn't cover anything, right, so the
150,
grants
we
are
cover
not
our
keeping
share
up.
probably on some of the
Right.
bridges.
The grants are not keeping up.
Yeah. Okay.
could you, tell me if this is, but could you draft a memo, like, this is the reason we think this is a priority? And we'd send it to the governor, we send it to our 2 senators, we send it to James, we send it, you know, to kind of elevate this, you know, to say, hey, you know, in the TAC committee, you know, send it to our,
When
you
we're
know,
gonna take pictures underneath it and say, we increased traffic this summer, Route 36 bridge closed, that's gonna put a lot of stress
I
on it.
got
well,
excited.
it's gotta really, if you go on that website,
Yeah,
the guy at the state, who I sent the email, I can forward it to you, Ken, but he was very knowledgeable. There's like 7 pictures underneath the bridge. I was shocked how comprehensive the reporting is. and he said, yeah, this should be your bridge. This is a big
the
deal.
bridge.
Yeah,
And
and it's a, what, $1 million job?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's got $1 million,
Okay,
two down
well, so
there,
that's why I said-
bridge. Bet this $1.5 million to 2.
Yeah, and he says we're monitoring it, it's on our, but if, if this is our bridge, if it takes a couple of
It's
years,
a combination of the two. The more you jump up and down at that TAC group, and the more you tell a story and involve somebody.
The governor just reallocated the overage from last year to all of the state roads.
right,
So, and I got all excited because I saw 51 on there, but it's deck 51 on the state road. So, yeah, it should be our time, it seems like, if that's gonna happen.
well, if you
keep
could
on.
start a memo,
Yeah.
and then, take your time, we'd start a memo, we'd start, get some focus on
It's
it.
not a bad idea on these agendas sometimes. Put something down on the bottom, every one of them. And every time you look at it, it says, we haven't dealt with that one for a while. We haven't dealt with that. We need.
Right, we can table some of the stuff, but see,
Well, I've noticed over the years, and we keep something down here all the time, somebody's on, what'd you do about it? What do we hear about it? Has anyone spoken to or got any kind of answers? So,
That'd be a good one to get some answers.
yeah.
Definitely need there.
Okay, so.
Is that a line of duty injury you got there, Ron? You got,
No, I just a little bit tired.
okay, oh, tar, okay, good, I thought it was abrasion.
Sugar injury.
Yeah,
We have a small issue, that there's a bat that's gonna be on the dangerous species list starting this Saturday. And we have some shrubbery that needs to be removed, and we're trying to figure out if we can, this is on the North Road culvert, so we're trying to figure out if we can get that removed first, and then move on with the rest of the project. So that's where we are with it, like, I'm just keep waiting
Yeah,
for
we'll get it done. Yeah, we'll get it done, don't worry about it.
chainsaw injuries.
Okay, so Mo, you pretty much done? You're done. Linda?
Okay, Northwest Solid Waste appointment. Jamie's interested. Do you wanna make Jamie your person?
Who has that?
Jamie.
I think she could do a good job again.
So somebody wanna do you have to make a motion or you
Sure,
just have
make
to?
a motion, someone.
I make a motion, we appoint Jamie Tibbetts to Northwest Solid Regional, or Northwest Solid Waste Management District.
I'll second it.
Okay, so,
Anybody, just a minute, anybody opposed?
Oh.
All in favor?
Aye.
Off she goes.
okay, we got the after elections every year, so I know the elected stuff. Regional commission appointments, it says Doug Grant and Brian Newby. Doug's doing.
Oh, yeah, Doug's here,
Okay.
yeah.
Transportation Advisory Committee appointment says Morris Jetty.
That's that tap thing?
No, well, it must be, because TAC alternate, there's nobody and it's optional.
Excuse me.
And then, Regional Energy Committee appointment, it did have Alicia. Do we have anybody?
This is for what now?
Yeah, exactly. This is from regional planning. They're just asking for updates. I just crossed her out. Is that,
And what is this job involved?
I don't know. This is just, they're giving me a list of all the people that are in positions and appointed and elected, and I really don't know what that is, so we can leave it.
I guess I'd like more, before I make any try to get someone, before I'd like to know what it's about.
Yeah, I can let her know. I can find out because,
That must be the regional plan, that's probably the Regional Planning Energy Subcommittee.
yeah, it must be.
Yeah, well, I'll ask Doug. I'll ask
Okay,
Doug, he's,
because we don't have to have this back right yet, so I'll hold off on that one. And I'll get in touch with, Amy, who sent it. Tree wardens, you're gonna have it as the select board?
I would say it's worked so far, I don't see why we change it.
Does that have to make a motion on that one?
I'll make a motion that the select board remain the tree wardens of town.
second.
We need,
We need to vote on that.
Yeah,
Is anybody opposed? Everyone in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. We go.
okay, we need to have an in-house assessor appointed, so I can actually do the work that I haven't been able to do since town meeting.
okay. Someone make a motion for the point Linda as our in-house
I make that
assessor.
motion.
Second, Dave?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Everyone all in favor?
Where are you now?
Assessor, appoint Linda, and to hire Nemrick as,
That we've already
What do you think?
practically
Shorthand
engaged with
over
them.
here.
I know,
Slow down.
but-
Take a deep breath.
oh yeah, we said
Did we vote
outside,
on, did we vote on?
Right, we did on her.
Yeah,
So
okay,
she's-
assessor,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
and then Nemrick to do the,
right, which we have already contractually agreed to, right?
we haven't signed the contract yet, but I think you have to do this first.
Also, we need a motion to make Nemrick,
Have the responsibility for the assessor, responsibilities for the town?
For,
We just voted on it, town meeting. We don't-
no, to go to an outside assessor.
so now we're gonna vote
So now we're
for
gonna-
Nemrick
Number,
as the person, or the group to be the outside
Yeah.
assessor. So you
I
make
make that
some,
motion.
someone second it?
yep.
Yep, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, no one's opposed? Yep, what else you got?
Motion, just motion to hire you.
Yeah. The church, there's a question about Chester Arthur Church. Somebody thought it was getting sold at the end of town meeting. You remember there was a
Oh, some
question?
minister, yeah,
Some,
belongs to the state, right?
right, but I reached out. They don't have any plans to sell it this time. They're in agreement that there is a congregation is gonna be holding church services there over the summer.
Which is their goal and usage anyway.
What's that?
Isn't it? Their goal is to have usage of it anyway, isn't it?
Well, I think so. So, and then the other thing is, there seems to be a person walking around Swan Hill, Reynolds Road,
Reynolds Road.
A walking club.
and, seems to got a phone call asking what we have for ordinances in the town, and I'm assuming
State law, they
with
would go there.
this ordinance and every other one that you are going with the state law.
Yeah, don't even, end of that discussion.
I just want to
Nothing.
say,
End of that.
yeah,
That's my understanding that usually you go with the state laws.
seems like a prudent way to go at this time.
I think so.
I don't think we need a motion, we're just in all in agreement as a board, we're going by state statute.
Mhm.
Okay, is that it?
Is that enough?
Never know. Kathy?
Something so stupid.
No, this is, I
Before you
did my
start,
job.
someone make a
I brought
motion
it
to
you
accept the
guys.
minutes of
I make a motion to accept the minutes from,
last meeting.
I've reviewed them, on 13 March.
Okay.
3:13 minutes.
I'll second that just to get things moving, since our clerk is scribing. All in favor of accepting minutes as presented?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor of that. Let's do the warrants right now. That
I make a motion, we approve the warrants.
I'll second that. Dave second that. All in favor of?
Aye.
Yep. Okay, Kathy, now you're up.
So Ronnie Lopash is is the appointed alternate for the PUC, and I'm currently the primary for the Northwest, not PUC, the Northwest Communications Union District.
Okay.
And that needs to be re-upped by the end of next month, so I will wait until I know if he's interested in doing that again.
Are you willing to do it again?
I am.
And we know Ron is, so let's do it and get it done with.
Okay.
Someone make a motion to appoint him.
What are we appointing you to?
So appoint Kathy as the primary on the Northwest Communications Union District. The NCUG.
And Ron,
And Ron as the alternate.
I'll make that motion.
Perfect. Seconded?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Are they stringing cable? I saw it coming down North Road today. Is
Yeah,
that,
they're going through East Fairfield, they've been up Ryan Road. Dodge
but is that your project?
Nope, it's consolidated.
Not yet. We're at a point where there's almost an agreement for, we have to have an anchor resident within the Communications Union District fiber optics in order to make the business design work. So they lost they had a final bidder last year and it ended up going wrong. And this area would have not benefited at all from that arrangement. So now we have another possible anchor So as soon as that is set, I think within the next couple months, we should be moving forward.
Have we heard any more about rental or building?
I did get a call last week. They are working on a proposal for you.
Okay, perfect. That one, and
Yeah.
I know she started moving some stuff out.
Is that rent or buy? Or,
So the select board has been slightly vague on how they want to move forward. So I think that they're going for some kind of a lease agreement at this time.
I'd rather do a lease agreement
Yeah.
myself, to be honest with
And
you.
they'll put together what they think would
Okay.
be reasonable and bring that into you.
thank you.
So Steve Shrews started last week, and I forwarded him the trailhead planning, scoping grants, V-Trans grants, the rec grant, just some of the grants that would be relevant to the trailhead, and then also grants relevant to municipal buildings that had been forwarded to me from Tori and others in the community. And I shared the village designation information and the town plan with him for those renewals, that renewal. So he's looking at all of those, and he'll come in and talk to you about what would be reasonable next steps. So in terms of the insurance, VLCT requested a history of upgrades to the properties. I'm still waiting on the community center. They also came back and requested experience modification worksheets for the insurance, from our current insurance, and property and casualty loss forms. So I have one of those from our current insurance, and I'm awaiting the response to the second request. We are also still working on audit numbers, so that, and myself and our treasurer are working on that together. The library is working on a first draft of the MOU between them and the town. I haven't seen it yet, but I do know that they've been working quite hard on it. So at some point within the next month, I assume they'll be coming to talk to you about it. The energy audit at the common school is coming up on April 27th.
So what exactly is this month? What's the purpose? What's its?
The energy audit,
No,
the MOU.
yeah.
Okay, so the MOU is just to clarify what we're already doing, who does what, and what are the parameters around that, who's in, I mean, it's basically everything that I do, everything that the librarian does, everything that, so that it's clear which part of the town is doing which pieces. It's just a one-pager you that requested, and they have to move forward with that, so. There are just some times when I think that they want to find positive, communication, beginnings of communication, and I think that this is just their way of creating that, so. It should move us forward in a good direction. It's just a bunch of agreements. This is what we do, and this is why we do it. The energy audit, so I'm providing them with a history of the building as well, providing them with heat and electricity usage, and we need to give them access to the different pieces of the building, so I'm working on that. And putting in the grants, now that I have numbers for the April 15 grants, just in terms of how much money it's gonna cost us to do, especially this North Road culvert, it's looking more like 450,000 instead of last year it was like 335,000. I just wanted to make sure that we're ready to go in this direction. It does have a 20% match, but it's only $150,000, so even we're way above 20% the match in order to just get this done is.
Doesn't matter, you're gonna have to do it. You get this ARPA money,
Well,
you can use it one place or the other.
So in terms of the ARPA money though, the North Road with the Danny project may use that.
Yeah.
So this is the other North Road culvert that we had requested.
That was for the state grant,
It was another V-Trans grant. Last year we applied and we didn't get approved.
right,
So this would be, the question is, do you want to commit to a grant for a project that's going to, the estimate be about $450,000
Yeah,
for
it's-
next summer or the summer after, if we have a
Do you wanna go
$150
home at night?
option. I'm just wondering the direction you'd like to go.
Do you wanna go home at night?
Yeah, I mean,
The North Road's
I
gonna be fixed. We
I
gotta keep
asked the
up on that.
question so
Yeah.
that
No,
I
no,
can.
no,
Yeah.
we understand.
Yeah,
That's
no,
fair,
no,
that's
no.
fair.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
mean,
Yep,
Yeah, well, I think our attitude was, let's put her name on the list and let's see, evaluate, so,
Okay.
you know, at this point,
yeah,
Okay,
and your numbers you just quoted, you know,
Yeah, I
it was
think-
three, if you just quoted like
Well, they're all gonna be
350
high
last
for a
year and
while.
4.
There's so much money out there to do projects, and once that money's gone, I'll bet you see the price of these projects drop after all that federal money's gone.
Yeah, so the answer is yes, we wanna go forward
Yeah.
and we'll keep an open mind on value engineering or whatever
well,
the
going forward
scoping.
with our open eyes, so,
Right.
yeah, that's good. Okay, that's basically everything for me at this point.
Well, perfect.
There's a lot of things moving.
I'm not really bashful, that looks
Yeah.
good.
So, someone make a motion to adjourn? Have we
Well,
covered
the
everything?
only other, on the agenda is the common school. I have no answer. I was just wondering, we didn't get a lot of feedback. We socialized the question, we asked for volunteers.
I like Sharon True's suggestions. Can you take that third floor off the damn thing? Bring the roof right down? I thought,
Callie, can you grab me a napkin? right
Sure.
there? Thank you.
I thought that was as good an idea as any. Apparently there's all sorts of planks upstairs in that thing, like this wide. Sell them on WeberNet, up page lower roof. I wonder if it's realistic you could do that or not. You were engineering, use your skills.
Yeah, absolutely. When I take the first floor out, the top floor will come right down.
So I'll support some continuities.
I think we need to
Strategy.
figure out, I mean, just like Tori and everybody else, right? How do we get 40 people interested and
Yeah, and keep them interested.
Yeah, and the one thing that from the town, since the town meeting, Steve was gonna add this to his
It's on-
portfolio for grants, so,
Yeah,
I don't-
we
I
have,
don't- yeah.
he does have some leads on that, some of the grants that I had looked at last year, and we had decided not to go forward with because of, I mean, we were still at this place last year, so.
and that's part of our development of the
Right.
relationship with Steve. When he comes in
Exactly.
2 weeks, hey, these are the sort of things. There's no use in applying for a daycare grant or a historical society grant until we have a direction we're going.
Right.
But let's see what's out there. Let's.
okay. That's,
But
uh,
that's another thing that's gonna go on the bottom, like you said, of the list, because if we don't
Possibly there.
just touch on it every once in a
So
while,
darn, when you get going, it's so easy to forget stuff.
next thing you know, you're another 30 grand a year into that thing.
Yeah.
You
I
haven't
know
done
next
it.
year we're gonna seal the door off going upstairs or something. Shit. So there's no way of that.
You know,
So
there's
no way
some
that happens.
really significant northern, we're in the northern border, federal opportunity.
Yeah, they looked at that before and went by then.
And it's about $300 or $400,000 for renovations of old buildings, basically is what they do. So he has a copy of that to see if
Don't do
that's
that again,
something.
So you wanna make a motion to adjourn? Is there anything else you wanna discuss before we adjourn?
two simple questions, maybe we know the answer and maybe we don't, I don't. To change the zoning regulations, these questions that came up and I didn't know.
I think there's a difference between changing the regulations and changing the bylaws.
Okay.
Well, I think that's a deal. I think the select board, if I understand it right, and again, I'm not claiming it, I think that's something can be brought up.
Can you check to see what once again, there's not a big rush, but Melissa, I bet would know, how do you change zoning regulations? How do you change zoning bylaws? And how do you change the town plan? I didn't have the authority to say this is A, B, I mean, so I didn't say anything, but I would like to, and I would like to see what they're asking. I mean,
I do know that whenever you do anything like this, it requires multiple warnings of meetings
Right.
and multiple levels.
It's at least a
of
6-month thing
approval.
out there before you can.
Yeah, I think each one of those has a
Yeah.
different, like the town plan, I think is a long, drawn out, anyways,
Yeah,
just,
Bylaws may be a completely different matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll find out
Town
for you.
plan.
yeah, no rush.
For just a high level kind of
Yeah, high
start
level.
pointing us in that direction, so.
Sure.
Right, so we could give an answer that's,
I'm sure my
No,
husband was
yeah.
probably in her sleep.
Well, I give that group credit, the way they're going about, looking at this thing, seeing what they could do, couldn't do. And I think they're wise the way they've gone around things, educating themselves to certain things, so it isn't just go in, everybody get all mad and holler at one another.
No, I'm impressed.
I agree. I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that.
I wouldn't just sit and eat peanut butter brownies.